The Pentagon's new policy for transgender service members goes into effect today. The new regulation keeps transgender troops from serving openly. It also blocks troops from receiving care if they transition to another gender.
But the Defense Department says people can serve if they remain their biological sex. It estimates that nearly 15,000 troops identify as transgender. The Supreme Court ruled the military could enforce the law after President Trump called for the ban in 2017. So joining me now is SPART A president and the first openly transgender service member to be promoted in the armed services, Blake Dremann. Thank you so much for joining us, Blake.
Thanks for having me.
So, what does this policy mean for troops already serving or troops that have enlisted?
So, this policy basically creates two classes of transgender people. There are those that fall under the exempt clause, which is anyone who received a diagnosis of gender dysphoria before yesterday, and those that will not be exempt. And the difference being those that are exempt will be able to continue their medical care, be able to transition and do all of the things that they've already been doing as far as deploying and contributing to their units. Those that did not get a diagnosis will be forced to choose between serving their country and keeping their jobs and seeking the medically necessary care for gender dysphoria.
So explain what SPART A is and what other organizations like SPART A are doing to sort of fight this new policy.
So SPART A is a transgender military advocacy organization, and we provide peer support and resources for transgender military troops across the services. We help them navigate the system and do the things that they need to do, as well as motivate them to keep going. The big thing that we're going to be seeing over the next few months is that we're going to be providing that peer support to those that will not fall under the exemption clauses and will need to find ways to continue to do their jobs so that we can continue to show those that would discriminate against us that we aren't going anywhere.
You know, the military has struggled with figuring out how to deal with the LGBTQ community that is serving. And before the policy that was in place now, what we had was don't ask, don't tell. And it worked until it didn't work anymore. Does this resemble don't ask, don't tell? It actually sounds worse to me.
It does. It absolutely resembles don't ask, don't tell, and I do believe that it will be worse. Here we have identified an issue that is treatable, does not keep people from deploying or anything from doing their jobs, and we've told our troops that you have to choose between treatment and your job, which for many folks, their families depend on that. And while they say we can identify as transgender openly, that negates the fact that this is still partially a medical condition that requires treatment. And just like any other medical treatment that the military provides that does not restrict someone's ability to deploy permanently, now we have created a second class of personnel.
I don't understand how they can argue, though, that you can serve openly when you have to serve under the gender that's on your birth certificate. That is not serving openly.
It's not. It's restricting them to living two lives. They will have to be one person at work and one person at home. And what that does is it affects military readiness. It keeps people from bringing their whole selves to work. And if anything, anyone who has served in the military knows is that you cannot leave anything off the battlefield. You have to be able to be completely present in order to be effective and put bullets down range.
You make an incredibly important point. We'll be following what happens with this development. Blake Dremann, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.